For many young Americans, social media has become a normal part of life. Here at the University of Maryland's large campus near Washington, it's hard to find a student who does not use at least some social media services.
I do use social media a lot, every day in fact. I use Instagram and Facebook, and it's pretty important to me because it's the main way I keep in touch with my friends from back home.
I mostly use Facebook and Tumblr. I use Facebook to keep in touch with my current friends and friends from the past, and I use Tumblr to keep in touch with social issues and to stay updated on things going on.
The main way, I guess, I get to see what my friends who I'm not around with on a day-to-day basis, maybe I get to see what's going on in their lives.
In Facebook, I find that because I'm so busy day to day, it's usually where I get a lot of information about current events, information about my family, being able to keep up with friends and family without having to, constantly text them or call them, things like that. I find it to be really important to keep my friendships and connections alive. And then Instagram, I mostly use for relaxation. I like to look at pictures that friends post, things like that.
The rapid development of the internet, personal computers, and smartphones have made social media possible. Professor Jessica Vitak studies the social impact of these new technologies.
The social media of the last decade, starting really with Facebook taking off, those types of sites have a lot of benefits. You can keep up with people who those relationships may have faded away otherwise.
Typically, users post photos or messages on a site for others to see.
If someone in your family dies and you're pretty upset about it, you can post something to a site and get a lot of support. Some people question the authenticity of this, but it can also facilitate support in other areas. So a friend of yours might say, "Oh, I'm going to come over and bring you dinner," but they wouldn't have known if you hadn't posted that had happened. And then you have informational related support, and sites like Twitter are really good for this because it's this much larger, much more diverse network. So I have a question, I can't figure out the answer, or I need advice. I just post a tweet, and it goes out to everybody who follows me. And if people retweet it, then it's going farther and farther. And I'm likely to get a response that would have been really difficult, if not impossible, for me to get otherwise.
But there is also a dark side. Bullying has been a problem probably since humans have lived. But now, a cyberbully can easily shame a young person in front of all their friends and acquaintances.
That's the really kind of heart-wrenching part of it, is that when people who are already upset about something, especially when you're young and it's harder for you to deal with these things. Suddenly, if everybody in your school is seeing this video of you that paints you in a negative way, or they say hurtful things about you, it can have a real significant effect on your well-being. It can make you more depressed, all of those things.
Part of the problem is that the internet often makes it easy for users to hide their identities. There was a notorious case several years ago where the mother of a young teenage girl went online pretending to be a teenage boy in order to harass another girl with whom her own daughter was quarreling.
Teenage girl who started being contacted by who she thought was a teenage boy, who kept telling her really nice things and complimenting her. And it turned out that it was somebody in the neighborhood, and it was a mother who had done it, and then ended up saying some very hurtful things. The girl's name was Megan Meyer, and she was 13 or 14 years old, and she ended up killing herself because of what was said. And so after that, they did pass a law with her name to deal with cyberbullying.
Professor Vitak says legislators and social media companies themselves are scrambling to find ways to stop hateful uses of the sites without infringing on free speech. In barely a decade, social media has revolutionized the way people around the world communicate. There are some problems associated with the phenomenon, like cyberbullying and the risk of cutting oneself off from face-to-face contacts. But the power of social media to multiply the number of people you can be in contact with and the information you can share can hardly be overestimated. For Saudi Good Morning, this is Burton Bolag in Washington.